Good evening, everyone. This is my social media presentation, or for the platform presentation. So, for the platform that I decided to use WTVY. Why did I use WTVY? I felt that WTVY was a local station that is near Troy, that is broadcasting regionally, and that's easy to find stories. Once it makes it easier to find stories, you can generate news traffic and locally. Now, on to the news traffic. So today for my presentation, I reserved three platforms. I reserved WTVY's Facebook, I reserved WTVY's Instagram, and I reserved their TikTok. Now, the one that they generally most generate traffic on is their TikTok. Not their TikTok. Their X platform, known as Twitter. They do have upwards north of 500K followers on there, so they are getting traffic, they are getting users on there, and they are getting followers. So that's where their main source of news comes from, other than the television station. Now, their second biggest platform is the Facebook platform. So that is where most of their demographic, I assume, gets most of their news, most where they generate stories, and most where they're putting their side stories or their soft news on. The third platform that we observed today is their TikTok. Their TikTok, I guess it's to generate more newer information, more newer information appeal to another demographic. Now today I'm going to talk about three stories on there that they decided to put out. So their first story was the Troy Dothan Symposium. Just a little bit rundown about that. Troy Dothan gets just last week they decided to give a symposium in Dothan. The symposium just goes over the new technological advancements that we introduced to the city with technological updates and just more stuff like that. Now the second story I'm going to introduce today is that they have reported that they are going to use a governor in a hit and run case. A little bit about that story. There was a hit and run case. I believe it was Wednesday. They reported, and they can't figure out all the details. So now they have to get the governor involved. Now the third story I'm going to go over today that they covered they covered over their Facebook, actually, on the platform, one of the three platforms that I mentioned earlier, is that there is a rabies outbreak, or they found in a case of rabies at a dog park in Montgomery. A little bit about that story is just a woman was at a dog park and she found out that her dog wasn't looking so well, so therefore she went to the doctor in Montgomery and they had to test for rabies, and the dog unfortunately came up positive. Now, within those three stories, they have been broadcasted very well. Those are some of their three of their most viewed stories. Now, the platform they have most been pushed on is the X, or formerly known as Twitter, that got the most views. The change in commentary, I would say there's a change in commentary. When they post on X, it's more specific, in your face. They're gonna give you all the details. Now, when they post on their Facebook per se, they're not gonna give you most of all their details, but it's most of, okay, here's a rundown, here's explanation of what happened, and we're getting more further updates. Now, when they post to their TikTok, obviously they can't post a 2-minute story on there, so they're going to use their like a 30-second clip just to highlight the main points. I did notice a change of somewhat like how some of their on-air talent does post commentary on there. They'll repost words, and then they'll change certain words to fit their audience, and just make it vague and specific, on their Facebook. Now, when they broadcast on their Twitter, it's more of, okay, we're getting details now. We're getting details now. Live updates soon as follows, stuff like that. Now, when they post on their TikTok, they'll use some of the specific terms, but they also want to shorten it just to read the time limit. I will say that I think they are going to push more of their future stories on Twitter, or they're aiming more stories on Twitter, because when I looked on there, they did generate more stories on Twitter than they did their Facebook, assuming that's where they get their demographic comes from.